What's going on, Steven Peterson? Ocho, what's going down, man?
Oh, not much, man. Just trying to stay busy.
Yeah, man. Let's start off with last September. You went across the border to Mexico City. Incredible spinning back fist KO of Martin Bravo. Did you feel like entering that fight? You were on the hot seat. Your back against the wall.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, there was a lot of adversity leading into that fight. One being I dropped that fight to Alex Caceres, which I really felt I won. Sean said, he felt I won. A lot of people felt I won, and I wasn't trying to dwell on it for too long. I wanted to get that bad taste out of my mouth. I wanted to jump right back in there, and so he signed me for the fight in Mexico City, and it was short notice. Mexico City is at an elevation, and coming off that loss, I felt like, yeah, if I would have dropped that fight, then I could have lost my job. So uh, I felt like my back was against the wall, and I was telling everybody going into it, I perform best when all odds are stacked against me. When somebody's going in there trying to hurt me, that's when I do my best. So I went out there, and yeah, that was a product of basically seeing what I'm capable of, seeing if when my back's against the wall, if I'm gonna crumble or if I'm gonna come out swinging, and I always come out swinging.
Yeah, definitely, man. That was incredible. With the mentality of having your back against the wall, how do you put yourself there when you actually don't have your back against the wall? Coming up in the future.
Yeah, you can't ever get comfortable in the cage. I mean, you got a guy trying to hurt you, trying to take what you have, and vice versa. You're trying to take what they have. Like, I want to fight guys that are in a higher position than me. Uh, in the top 10, I want to fight guys that are dangerous, and I can put myself back in that mindset basically by having somebody trying to hurt me. I got a guy in front of me. He's trying to do damage to me and basically take my livelihood away from me. So that's going to bring out the best in me. I don't like when guys go in there and they try to play or they try to just stick and move and win a decision, because that's not the point of the game. The game's not to go to the judges' scorecards. The game is to finish your opponent, and that's the type of fight I want to be in.
Matchmaking is important for that, that aspect of, facing guys that will come forward and actually fight you instead of pointing, going to the judges, all of that. For you moving forward, with matchups, are you going to be more careful of who you fight because of that reason?
Man, I'll fight anybody. I'm not afraid of anybody in this sport, but now I realize the business behind the game,
Mm-hmm.
and the fight's got to pay what it's worth. I've been putting all of these wars, tough matchups with guys that are gonna really bring out the best in me. But back in the day, fighting for LFA or fighting for XKO, I would take on high level opponents and get paid a couple grand tops. And then in the UFC, anybody you fight, you're going to be making tens of thousands of dollars, if not more. So that being said, I need to be more business oriented with my career. And when I do fight guys that want to stick and move, I need to adjust my game plan to try and trap them rather than chase them, because they know that I'm trying to get a hold of them. It's no question what I'm going to do when I come into a fight. I'm trying to take you out. So they try to use that against me. So therefore, I need to adjust my game plans going into a fight.
You mentioned the business side of the sport, and I was recently talking to another UFC fighter, and he was telling me that they offered him a late notice fight, but against a big name, and he was not in shape. But yeah, he could have took the fight, you know what I mean, because it was a huge opportunity. But at the same time, he said, "Man, I'm not getting paid enough to fight that level of guy." You know what I mean? When you look at that and hear that, what are your thoughts on that situation? Would you do the same?
Yeah, that's smart. I mean, I'm not sure what I would do if I was in that position right now. If they offered me a fight against Cubs once and on a week's notice, I would take the fight just because of the name. And I don't try to. I usually don't get it so far out of shape to where I can't take a fight on short notice. Um, I just had a surgery, and I'm on the road to recovery, so I'm in a totally different position right now. I'm in great shape, but fight shape's a whole different animal. I haven't been sparring. I haven't been doing the things that you would do to prepare yourself for a fight. I've been working on strengthening my weakness, which is, where I had surgery on. I have to build it back up so that it doesn't become a problem in the future. It's been a problem for, most of my career since I can remember, and now I finally have it fixed. I want it to stay that way so I can, be my best going forward.
All right, before we dive into the surgery and the injury and everything, I wanted to ask you one more thing about Mexico City. Is after the main event, basically a riot broke out in the arena. Where were you during that situation?
I was backstage, and I could hear it, and I could more than hear, I could feel it. I could feel the rumbling in the building, and we were like, "Oh shit, what's going on?" So we look over at the screen, and we saw the eye poke, and the replays, and then we saw like stuff being thrown, and all of a sudden we were getting escorted out of the building, onto the bus. They wanted us, out of there because Mexico is a third world country, and you never know what could happen over there.
Were there people chasing the bus, or what? Were once you were on the bus, everything was all good. There was nothing to worry about.
Yeah, no, outside it seemed a lot more calm. I think it was just in the arena, chaos was breaking loose, and once we got outside, it seemed real laid back out there.
With the elbow injury, I mean, you said that it's been something that's been bothering you for a long time. How long? How far back does that go?
I want to say 8 years, 7 or 8 years. I remember a moment where I got taken down up against the cage, and there was a exposed metal bar at the bottom. Normally, there's a pad there, and the pad had gotten all destroyed from grappling against it, and so it was a metal bar exposed, and my elbow slammed on the bar, and it swelled up, and I was training for a fight at the time, an LFA fight, so I had to train through it, and ice it and whatnot. But I could feel it, just rubbing, and I could feel bone chips floating around. And I talked to a doctor after that fight, and he was like, "Yeah, those are just going to be there, and there's no reason to go in there and actually take them out. They'll just be stuck on the elbow." And I was like, "Well, won't those become like an issue in the future, like floating into the joint?" And he was like, "Oh no, there's no way that the bones could float around into the joint." Well, he was wrong. And over the course of all that time, I mean, 7 years ago, I was been holding mitts for one of my students, and when they would hit it at a certain angle, it would jar my elbow and lock it up, and then I'd have to snap it back and try and like get the motion and feeling back, and it would tingle all down my fingers. And I just didn't know what was going on, and the doctor told me that was unrelated and it was tendonitis, and so I was basically just maintaining it from fight camp to fight camp, and trying to push through it. And usually by the time we got to the end of the fight camp, it was like, oh, I couldn't even use my arm, and it was a matter of, okay, now a week out, it's time to get the swelling out so I can get used to my arm, and then I go right into the fight, and just not even worry about it. And it got to the point where in my most recent camp, it was progressively getting worse. In my last camp, 1 week into the camp, I go into my rounds. And the first round I'm in, I block a punch, and it jars, and all of a sudden it locks up, and I can't move it. And this time was worse than others. I couldn't move my arm or extend it for the rest of the week. So I had to take my whole first week off the training camp. And I was like, "Coach, I need to, something's wrong with this elbow." He's like, "No, we're not fighting this fight. Your elbow's been hurt for a long time, and it's time to get it fixed." I was like, "Coach, I'm gonna fight this fight. I've never once pulled out of a fight. I signed, so many contracts, and never once pulled out of a fight. So it was a really tough pill for me to swallow." I went back and forth with Coach about it, and he's always right in situations like this. I tried to push through it, and it happened again, and it was even worse the second time. And he was like, "See, I told you." And at that point, I accepted it. It was inevitable. I had to get the surgery. And when we actually went and got the MRI, we spoke to the surgeon. Then he could see it clear as day, a bone chip, large bone chip, lodged directly in the middle of my joint. So when I was blocking these punches, it would smash that bone chip in between my joint, and that was what was causing all the issues. And it ended up actually overextending or stretching out my ligament. I think it's called the UCL ligament. So it had stretched that to the point where it wasn't even in the groove that it normally goes into. So I guess the bone chip acted as like a fulcrum point to pull my joint apart every time I was blocking punches. So we planned on getting a orthoscopic surgery where they go in with little scopes, tiny incisions, and the recovery would have been 6 weeks. So I go under the knife and I'm confident, thinking, I'm gonna wake up and everything's gonna be all right. And 2 hour surgery turned into a 6 hour surgery. I woke up and it turned out they couldn't. The bone chip was embedded in the joint. It had got slammed in there so many times that it had made a little groove and it was stuck there. So they had to cut me open, go in there, get the bone chip out, clean out the back of my elbow, get the rest of the bone chips out, and then they repaired the ligament, which is a Tommy John's surgery, is what it was called because of the pitcher that got the first time surgery. So it ended up being a pretty major surgery. When I thought it was just going to be 6 weeks recovery, it turned out 6 months minimum when I got out of the operating room. So now I'm on the road to recovery, and I believe 4 months into my recovery. In another 2 months, I think I'll be 110% better than I've been the last 8 years.
Yeah, yeah. Now, the recovery and the rehab, how has that been? Have you been doing it and feeling good, or has it been a bumpy road so far?
It was real tough at the beginning because I didn't expect to have to deal with all of this. I expected just, getting it scoped out. But, once I accepted it, it became that was my new mission, just like fight camps. You have a mission, you train for that fight. This was just a longer mission without the big reward. The big reward would be, I guess, I get the use of my arm back. So, yeah, I started off doing rehab 5 days a week, and then the COVID lockdown happened. They had to shut down the clinic, and then kind of slowed me down. And I was basically rehabbing on my own. Now we're back open. I'm doing rehab 2 to 3 days a week, and yeah, feeling good, feeling confident. I'm able to finally, snap my punches again. So just gotta get my strength back, especially in the ligament and around the ligament and those muscles, forearm, bicep, tricep, uh, just the normal pretty boy muscles that most bodybuilders would want to work out. I'm kind of focusing on those. So when I get back in there, I'll be nice and cut and ready to go.
You're swinging your arms around and you look like you feel great. You're probably just like bursting though. You want to get back into training, right? Because the gyms are open.
Yeah, man, I'm watching all my training partners, and they're like, "Man, you're still out," and it's like, I'm like, I could throw punches at the air, but when I hit you in the head,
Mm.
it might react a little different, or especially when I block something like a kick. That's going to be the major test. I told the nurse, I was like, "Yeah, I'll fight in 6 to 8 months," and she laughed at me. She was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be a year," and now we're looking at another 2 3 months, and I'll be there. So the mind's stronger than anything else, and you put your mind to something, you can make it happen. You know, it takes time to heal, but you can progress these things. And the UFC's treated me incredibly. Uh, they got they hooked me up with stem cells for my elbow, and those stem cells do wonders. They're increasing my healing speed, and the nutritionists at the UFC have been sending me supplements, joint supplements, and cartilage rebuilding supplements. So I'm not worried about taking something that a doctor might recommend and I'll get in trouble for. They're sending me the products that are already cleared, and making sure I'm taken care of.
It seems like that's the best way to go because people are getting busted for tainted supplements all the time. You might as well just go with the stuff that the UFC is sending you, right? Is it Thorn,
Dude,
that company?
they send you supplements. They'll send you protein. They'll send you your meals. They'll send you your joint supplements, your daily vitamins. What more do you need? Why you got to take some shit that you don't know what's in it? You know what I mean? I feel like there's really no excuse at this point. I know things happen, and It's not the only thing I take. I take other protein supplements and stuff like that, but they're all cleared. I look at the bottle. I make sure I know what I'm taking, and you know, now that I say that, something's gonna pop off. But hopefully, nothing will. Yeah, I mean, shoot, I got them all sitting on my counter right
Yeah.
here. I got the Thorn daily vitamins, the Thorn, what's it called? Manura. It's like a joint supplement, like the stuff that I wouldn't even know what it is. They already know. I just tell them what I'm dealing with, and then they send me the supplements, and I don't have to worry about getting popped.
Yeah, easy, easy. There, like you said, there is no excuse. Did you see this on the news? Olympic boxer, this female, she was popped by USADA, and then USADA did an investigation and cleared her name. But she said that she ingested some.
Oh yeah,
Did you see this? This is a crazy
yeah.
story.
She I guess got it from her partner from
Yeah,
ingesting his bodily fluids.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
wild, right?
I've never heard of anything like that, but I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, but I don't see how, like, if if that's okay and you can get popped and be cleared of any wrongdoing, then why can't you be cleared of any wrongdoing if you take the supplement? I think that would be similar. You know what your boyfriend's on. Maybe you didn't know that he could transmit it through like that way to you, but I mean, you're responsible for what goes into your body. So um, I think if something happens like that, yeah, you made a mistake because you didn't know, but it doesn't change the fact that you still had something in your system that was against the rules.
With everything pretty much back open and running during the pandemic, did it affect you outside of fighting any? I think you last time we spoke, you talked about you did have some business that you were running. Did that what kind of effects did it have on that?
Yeah, it affected everything really. It affected just it locked everybody down. Like we were stuck in our house. It affected me mentally more than anything. The first couple weeks were really tough, and then I had a moment and just bleached my hair. I never bleached my hair. You see, there's still a little bit in there, but I've never done that in my life. Just totally bleached my hair and went out and hung out with my friends. And I was like, yeah, screw the lockdown. I'm gonna rebel. Like this is America, right? We're supposed to be free, but we're not free. So I went to a friend's house and we hung out all night. And I noticed the change like that. It was like when I was obeying the lockdown and at home all the time, I was tired all the time. And I was, I go to sleep about midnight. I was waking up at like 2 in the afternoon. That's like 14 hours of sleep. And I wake up still tired, like not wanting to do anything. And then I went and hung out with my friends, and it was like, now I don't want to go to sleep. And then when I woke up, I wake up at like 9, 10 in the morning, like, okay, what's going on? Let's go to the park. Let's go shoot some disc golf. Let's go hang out. So I really made a connection with the how other people give us energy and how we feed off of each other. And when we're by ourselves, you're basically just like a fire just fizzling out. And when you get with other people, um, then you burn brighter and you have more energy. So I said screw the lockdown, and I went and socialized with some friends because with my career, I haven't been able to see most of these people very often for years. I mean, a lot of these people supported my career since I was an amateur, and we'd hang out to celebrate wins, and then after that, it's like, oh, we're right back to work, and I wouldn't see them again until after another fight. So, I hung out with a lot of those people on a day-to-day basis over the lockdown, and rekindled some friendships, and really just worked on myself, my mindset, and just my overall well-being. Like, who am I? Who am I? I'm nobody by myself. You know, I am my connections. I am the people that I surround myself with, um, and we need those connections to survive and to thrive.
So you got to live somewhat of a regular life, right? A regular daily life, like someone that works a 9 to 5.
Yeah, basically, I got to live the life of somebody that didn't have a job. So I got to hang out with my friends. I still taught some private lessons at the park. After the first few weeks, I kind of said, if I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get it. I don't want to be hiding in my house, just waiting
Yeah.
for impending death. We're all gonna die someday, right? So I want to live my life when death comes knocking. I don't want to be hiding and just waiting for it.
So you said 2 more months of the rehab, and that would be, or that'll be like the fall, right? So
Yeah,
what do
I'm
you
expecting to
expect?
fight. Yeah, I'm expecting to fight either late September or October. Um, I got my mind on, at least accepting a fight in September. Like telling Sean, hey, I'm ready to go. What do you got for me? And then looking at the timetable, like obviously I would want an opponent with a camp, but I'm going to be in shape and ready to go at the end of July. So in August, I will be ready to take a fight.
Yeah, it looks like the rest of the year, all the cards will be in Vegas at the Apex. So it's not gonna be a surprise like, hey, we want you to go to, Russia or something
Yeah,
like that.
either that or Fight Island.
Yeah,
If they have like
yeah.
another fight on Fight Island, say September, that would be ideal because I want to do that while it's still happening.
Oh, so you want to just have your name in the history books as one of the guys that
Oh
went to
man,
Fight
I want to
Island.
have my name in the history books for all the good reasons. Not the controversial reasons.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, it's good catching up with you, Steven, man. I'm glad that rehab is going well, and I know you're probably bursting the seams just to get back
I
in there
can't
because
wait,
I know you
man.
love to fight. And when something gets announced, I'll definitely hit back at you, and we'll get another one in.
Yeah, buddy, I'm looking forward to it, brother. I appreciate your time.